Okay, this is AP Stedham of Bama Magazine and BamaMag.com at Radio City Music Hall in downtown Manhattan at the 2014 NFL Draft. Our special guest is color commentator extraordinaire for the University of Alabama football team and the Crimson Tide Sports Network, also senior executive of the Senior Bowl, Phil Savage. Phil, thanks for spending a few moments with us today.
Well, you're welcome, AP. Always good to talk to the Bama Nation.
Phil, I'm just going to ask you about this draft. Alabama had 8 players, a fine number. They didn't match the career high of 9 from last year, but just give me some of your thoughts on C.J. Mosley going to Baltimore.
Yeah, C.J. Mosley goes to the Ravens, and this wasn't a specific need for them, but it could be in a year, and I think he'll go there. He plays like a Raven. I think he'll do a great job in Baltimore.
And then we have Clinton-Dix to Green Bay.
Now, there was a team that had a huge hole at safety, and Clinton-Dix was a target for the Packers. They didn't have to move for him. They sit there at number 21, and I think there's a big upside with in the future.
And then we have Cyrus Kouandjio to Buffalo.
Yeah, Cyrus goes to a team headed up by Doug Marrone, who's a former offensive line coach, and I think Cyrus will potentially start at right tackle maybe as soon as this year.
Kevin Norwood, the clutch receiver, to Seattle.
Yeah, Kevin Norwood was a player that a lot of scouts were really sitting on, thinking that he would go somewhere in the 3rd or 4th round. I think this is a perfect fit for him, going to a winning team from a winning program. Kevin Norwood earned that moniker Mr. Reliable during his career at Alabama.
Ed Stinson, Arizona.
Yeah, Ed Stinson, is an ideal 5 technique, a defensive end in the 3-4 front. He's got experience in that system. That's what Arizona does. And as they get a little bit older up front, he'll have a chance to at least be a backup early and potentially be a part of their rotation in the future.
And maybe the most star-studded player in the draft for Alabama, A.J. McCarron to Cincinnati.
Yeah, it was a long wait for A.J. This was an unusual draft in terms of last year and this year. A lot of your big-name quarterbacks go on the final day of the draft. A.J. goes to Cincinnati, where he'll work with Andy Dalton, the starter, and then Jason Campbell was signed as a free agent. Hugh Jackson's the offensive coordinator. So I think this is a good situation for A.J. to go and learn the NFL game behind the scenes, kind of like he did at Alabama when he was redshirted his first year.
Vinny Cincinnati, the hard-nosed safety, to New Orleans.
Yeah, Vinny fits the profile of a Rob Ryan type of defensive player with that kind of mentality, but his first order of business will be playing on special teams, and Vinny excelled at that during his time in Tuscaloosa.
Jeff Pagan to Houston Texans.
Yeah, another player with experience in the 3-4. The Texans really revamped their front 7 with younger players, and Jeffrey Pagan will go in there and be part of that competition. He's going to have to earn it and work to make the team, but at the end of the day, he certainly has enough potential talent to do it.
Some free agents, probably Anthony Steen, Kenny Bell, Deon Ballou, John Fulton, Adrian Hubbard was maybe a surprise he was not selected.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise of the undrafted players from Alabama was Adrian Hubbard. Most forecast him somewhere in the mid to late rounds. He ends up being not selected, but he will certainly get a chance, and he'll be one of the first free agents that signs now that the draft is over.
Mm-hmm. Any of those others that'll be...
Anthony Steen's an interesting player because he had the shoulder, so he really was kind of out of the mix during the spring, was unable to work out until the middle of April. But as an offensive guard, he'll have a chance. Kenny Bell, I think, will be up for debate in terms of what happens with him. Cody Mandel definitely will be signed somewhere, I believe. Maybe the most improved player on the entire team over the last 3 years.
And Cade Foster is another special teams player.
Yeah, Cade could get a shot, may get a tryout, but at the end of the day, the punters and the kickers, that's a little bit of a different rotation as far as the I'm saying the wrong thing here, but what I'm trying to say on punters and kickers is a different category of players, and so he'll get a tryout, and we'll see where it goes from there.
A couple of defensive backs, Deon Ballou and John Fulton.
Yeah, I think Deon Ballou, a bit of a surprise that he wasn't selected, but he'll certainly get a chance. There were over 55 defensive backs taken in this draft. I think that was an all-time high. So people are looking for cover defenders that could play the ball in the air, and Deon Ballou can do that.
Mm-hmm. Phil, always good to visit with you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you.